Hey, do you like games where it's satisfying to explore, wander around, take a walk, find some weird stuff? Well, we got you covered with these 10 new and upcoming 25 games that feature some cool exploration. Starting off at number 10, Ghost of Yōtei. This is the follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima, releasing on PlayStation in October, and it's an exploration game because, obviously, if you played the first one, you know this game is all about becoming one with the environment. These games are about kind of taking away some of the video gamey elements that make it feel like an open world game with open world busy work, and while it's still keeping you busy, Ghost of Tsushima still managed to really make it feel like you were just going with the wind, wandering around and discovering things and enemies and hidden caves and secrets all in this massive open world. Now, with Ghost of Yōtei, we expect things to get even bigger because now it's not taking place on the island of Tsushima, but actually mainland Japan. So from what we've seen in the trailers and previews, it just looks like there's more biomes, bigger distances, larger towns and cities, and just all kinds of places to discover cool different things. We know you're getting more weapons, cosmetics, stuff like that, like in the first game, as well as some new open world side activities that actually look like they might prove fun to hunt down. Like I said, the first game really figured out this formula well. It made you feel like you were exploring an open world and not necessarily just rushing to the next thing to check off a box. So if they can just carry that momentum with Yōtei, the sequel, I'm down. Either way, we don't know for sure until we actually get our hands on the final release, and like I said, it does release this fall. Next, over at number 9, we have Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Some of you may not have heard of this one, but it released this year, and check some Steam reviews, check our Before You Buy video. This is a really underrated game. Essentially, it's exploration and gameplay in the style of something like Elder Scrolls Oblivion or Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So if you're looking for that type of flavor, this is kind of like a AA version of that. Also, it's set in a world with a much darker, grimier fantasy tone, so it's got something a little bit different to it. It's not the most massively open game, but it's filled with towns, NPCs, side quests, and loot to find. And honestly, just because this world, the lore is so weird and fascinating, it really encourages you to look around because you haven't really seen anything quite like this. Now, like I said, it is a smaller game from a smaller studio, so it's a bit rough around the edges, but like I said, if you were looking for an Elder Scrolls style game, this can definitely scratch that itch. It's exactly what you expect. Create your character from the ground up, you break out of a jail cell, you're thrust out into this weird new open world, and use magic, use swords, use ranged, be a knight, be a rogue, be a barbarian, whatever you want. Along with that, you're kind of dealing with like the soul of this dead, fallen ancient King Arthur that created this land. It's cool stuff, like I said. So check it out. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon is out now. Next, over at number 8, Monster Hunter Wilds. I want to address this right off the bat. For some hardcore Monster Hunter fans, this is not the best Monster Hunter game ever, but it is certainly the biggest Monster Hunter game, so we figured we'd mention it here. Monster Hunter Wilds takes place in a big, fully explorable open world. It's not tied off between like loading screens or zones or anything like that. You just get out there, you hop on a mount, and you ride around and you look for monsters to hunt. In your travels, you'll find different monsters off the beaten path, different things to harvest, and of course, plenty of different contracts and missions and hunts to really keep you busy. It's a big old world, and it's not always filled with tons of stuff, but when you find something special or you just see a really cool area, it's definitely worth the trip. Like I said, I don't think it's the best Monster Hunter game ever, but it's got its own flavor to it and it's cool. And if you've never experienced Monster Hunter before, this is probably the easiest one to get into. It's pretty accessible, it's pretty forgiving. So yeah, we figured we'd give it a mention. Next, over at number 7, we have Borderlands 4. It's been a while since we've gotten some Borderlands, and Borderlands games, of course, despite not being fully open world, are great for exploration. Tons of missions, tons of side quests, and of course, hundreds and hundreds of guns to find. Now with Borderlands 4, it's interesting because it seems like it's going to be the biggest one by quite a country mile. So I actually found a couple of interesting previews, some press and some influencers and YouTube reviewers that have gotten their hands on the game, and word on the street is, specifically from Game Informer's report as well, that the game apparently does feel really big. It's still not like this completely giant open world thing, and things are kind of sequestered into zones, but apparently these explorable zones are absolutely massive and help make Borderlands 4 feel way different than the previous games. So we're excited to get our hands on that and see if it's actually worth the hype. But really, if you've played a Borderlands, you know they're fun to mess around with, they're fun to roam around and explore, and we expect Borderlands 4 to be no different. And thankfully, Borderlands is releasing soon in September. Next, over at number 6, Donkey Kong Bananza. This game is absolutely awesome. Don't judge a book by its cover. What looks like a very simple platformer punch-a-thon actually has a lot of depth to it, and it is just so much fun. This game is incredibly explorable because every environment you go to has a ton of variety. Some of them feel absolutely massive, and the game just continues to move forward at a really, really compelling pace, always showing you new things, new enemies, new game mechanics, new types of areas. But because every single area is packed with so much stuff, you're going to want to explore every inch of every zone or area before moving on. Hunting for bananas is so much fun. Think of like stars or moons in a Mario game, but here, bananas are just awesome because he's a monkey and you love bananas, but also finding them is often so creative. A lot of it is smashing through things and stumbling upon them, but also there's plenty of challenges and ways you got to think outside the box to find these things. That, to me, just makes a great exploration game. Running around as a big monkey, punching stuff, and hunting for bananas. Honestly, I'm a simple guy. I can't really ask for much more than that. Next, over number 5, we have The Alters. This is a game pretty different from your standard sci-fi game. It's part survival, it's part base management, it's also part clone management, but it's also got a good chunk of exploration. The main hook of the game is you're stranded on this weird, crazy planet, and your whole crew is dead, and it's up to you to kind of fight for resources to survive, keep your safety base alive, do experiments, improve your tech, and maybe eventually get off the planet. Like I said, your whole crew is dead, so it's just you, but you can clone yourself. And all these different versions of this one guy, Jandolski, can all be given different tasks. It's kind of like Fallout Shelter, you know, the mobile Fallout game, but in full 3D. The fun hook here, though, is that you're able to put on a spacesuit and then go for a walk on the planet's surface and hunt for resources, mine, and get to work. Now, exploration-wise, it's not the most in-depth, but what I will absolutely give it credit for is the atmosphere. This is like a harsh, mysterious, strange planet, and you're dropped into a couple of different zones to explore on this planet, and they all feel really unique and dangerous and threatening in their own ways, from weird anomalies, atmospheric events, and cliffs and lava. Like, there's just so much going on, and it's cool to kind of wander around and slowly fight your way through it. You're worried about time. You're managing time and resources to actually explore. So every day you're kind of venturing out and going a little further or going in a different direction to find stuff. And that, to me, truly gives you the sense of exploration. Along with that, it's really fun to be back at your base managing your cloned versions of yourselves, because they're all a little different, and it's just a really weird, unique game. If you haven't heard of The Alters or you haven't tried it, you should definitely consider it. Next, over at number 4, we have Crimson Desert. This is the next game from Pearl Abyss, the people behind Black Desert Online, but this is just a big old single-player massive adventure RPG in a big open fantasy world. Here, you create your character, you set out, doing quests, talking to NPCs, waging war, fighting giant bosses, and this game has a lot going on. It's not out yet, but everything we've seen of it just shows something incredibly ambitious, from a ton of depth to the gameplay mechanics, the size and detail of the world, and just all the different complex gameplay systems going on. Like, there is just a lot going on with Crimson Desert, and the actual world it's set in does look really beautiful. It looks like a big old showcase of Unreal Engine 5 with incredibly detailed forests, great lighting, massive mountainscapes, huge castles, detailed towns, you name it. There is loot and all different types of weapons, so I assume that that's going to be a lot of the exploration, but also seemingly tons and tons of side quests as well. I think this one might hit. It looks like it might be a little messy or a little strange to some, but this kind of looks like an evolution of something like they worked on with Black Desert Online, but obviously single player, and clearly taking influences from things like Breath of the Wild to Skyrim. And there's a reason why this game, even though it hasn't released, it's gotten a bit of a following. A lot of people are really curious about this one. It seems like it's going to satisfy a lot of people's appetite. as long as they don't screw it up, as long as it's not a mess. We're hoping we see more of Crimson Desert this year. Next at number 3, we have Hell Is Us. Hell Is Us is a Souls-like game, kind of. I mean, look at the gameplay. It looks challenging, it looks tough, looks like you gotta block, parry, fight challenging enemies in that style, but it's also got a bit of a sci-fi twist. Cool, right? You're the sci-fi guy, you got drones and tech, and you're fighting different creatures. But what makes it even more different is how it's structured. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't give you quest objectives. It's up to you to go out, wander around, investigate, and figure things out. You're going to talk to NPCs and try and find leads and figure out where to go next. And essentially, it's just you kind of chipping away at the layers of the game in order to figure out how to progress. You're not just following a straight line on a map. And for that, we really commend them. Hell Is Us isn't out yet, so we haven't been able to experience it for ourselves yet, but we just like that approach because that encourages real, genuine, organic exploration. Again, you're not glued to a marker on your map or anything like that. You're just wandering around for the sake of it, the thrill of it, to try to find something. I really hope it's good. I hope they nail it. It's got a lot of good people behind it, some veteran game developers as well as some new people. It's a new studio, so fingers crossed, we hope they nail it, and we'll know for sure because it's releasing soon. Now down at number 2, Hollow Knight Silksong. This is the long-awaited follow-up to Hollow Knight, an incredible Metroidvania, and I'm gonna argue Metroidvanias are all about exploration. It's all about progressing, finding stuff, obtaining tools, learning how to use those tools in different areas to progress even further. It's all about wandering around, chipping away the environment, finding every last bit of a health upgrade, optional boss, hidden treasure, stuff like that. Metroidvania games for me are all about exploration, and Hollow Knight was a really great one. It was incredibly challenging, but it was also set in this cool, mysterious, bleak world. It had a good map, and it really had everything. There's a reason why people are dying for the follow-up. Silksong has been in the works for so long, but it seems like we're finally going to be getting it this year. Fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx it, but it seems like it's happening, finally. Now down at number 1, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Now look, I know Hideo Kojima's new game isn't for every type of player. Some people find them boring, some people find them overrated, but you can't argue this game is really about exploration because that's really it. You know, people joke that it's just a delivery simulator or a walking simulator, but yeah, you're walking around these massive environments, journeying to the next place, exploring these beautiful landscapes from mountain ranges to jungles to beaches to everything in between. These games are about the destination, yes, because you are delivering, but it's also about the journey. You gotta really look around, learn your environment, and figure out how to progress. More than the first game, the more you get tools and the more you unlock stuff, the easier it is to really navigate these environments. Much easier, I'd argue, maybe even too easy. But Death Stranding 2 is a massive world to mess around in. Tons and tons of optional deliveries and side quests to engage in, and a couple little weird secrets and Easter eggs to find. Not to mention the fact, also graphically it's gorgeous. So when you're wandering around, exploring, carrying boxes, looking for more stuff, the music's playing, the sun is shining. This is just a cool, kind of vibes-based exploration game, you know what I mean? Plus, also, the combat is better this time around, so you can also kill dudes if you want. Those are 10 games with some good exploration, but we got some bonus ones we wanted to mention. Of course, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's got a really big world and lots of stuff to do. It wasn't my favorite. I was pretty critical of it, but it seems like people are digging it more than me, so we wanted to mention it. Also, The Outer Worlds 2 is releasing pretty soon, and it seems like a much bigger game than the first. Also, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I'm gonna force this game in every video because I really enjoy it. It's not like a massive exploration game, but what I will say is that the optional stuff, the side quests and weird little diversions you can find on the world over map are worth wandering over to. And of course, Dune Awakening, the big old massive multiplayer survival game, is great, and it's just Arrakis, so it's awesome to explore. The sci-fi world of Dune is incredibly detailed, and it's just really fun to play around and explore in this literal sandbox. But those are 10 or so exploration games, like I said, games featuring some exploration. Let us know what you think in the comments. We just wanted to yap about a couple of cool games today, so if you appreciate that, clicking a like button really helps us out. But again, let us know in the comments some of your favorite recent games that encourage you to explore, look around, We'll see you down there. Either way, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.